Hello, everybody. Welcome to the She Who Glows podcast. I'm Holly, your host, and I'm here today with my good friend Gigi, who I'm so excited to have on this conversation today because me and Gigi have been friends for a good while now, and she's been someone that has, again, been a big part of my life and someone who really encouraged me at a time where I didn't feel I had that much courage myself and belief in myself and was right at the very start of my yoga journey that I met her. So she's very special to me, and I'm so glad she's here. Gigi, welcome.
Hello, hi, my friend. Thank you for having me. I feel very honored and grateful to be here. So thank you.
Oh,
You're
thank
right.
you.
We go back such a long way, right? And it's been a few years. I was just thinking, right, like, we opened this conversation, everything, like when did we meet? And I think it was at Cali Flow, wasn't it? When I
Yeah,
came
so
in for an interview and you took my class. Yes.
so I moved down from London and I it was because I got this job offer at this place called Califlow, which is a yoga and calisthenics studio that's no longer open sadly anymore. But I was a studio coordinator there and I'd just taken my yoga course as well and wanted to start teaching yoga. So that was kind of like my way in. But I remember Gigi coming through the door and she was like this vibrant, like glowing woman. And I was like, oh my God, she's so beautiful and so confident. And she was basically coming in for an interview, and I got to go in to take her class as well. And I just remember taking your yoga class and thinking, oh my God, she is absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved it. And I was like, we need to hire her straight away. And you ended up working with me, and it was just so much fun.
It was literally like love at first sight for the two of us. Because since then, like we never left each other basically. And like randomly, like the I think the universe just put us together in so many more occasion and jobs in the same studio. We were turning up to the same like interviews and auditions, be like, oh, are you here as well? It's just like, this is a clear sign that we need to be together and just be friends.
A
But you're so
hundred
sweet. I,
percent. And I
yeah.
just think that, like, one thing that I loved that you brought to the studio and just my life in general is this playfulness that you have. And I feel like we just bring that out in each other, just this silly playfulness. I just remember being in the studio and us like putting ourselves in different positions and taking videos and pictures.
I agree. I remember we were taking those videos for Instagram. I love it. Literally, I think I was in a pinch upside down, and you were like, literally like flipped over in a back bend.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
one
it.
thing that I want to discuss on because I guess we connected through yoga to begin with because I was at a yoga studio and I already started teaching yoga back home, but I was nervous to teach it in London for some reason. And I was just like, ah. And you were such a big support to me during that time and really gave me encouragement as you were already started teaching before that. And I also wanted to go and teach into more studios, and it just felt like such a thing that was out of my reach. I was like, oh God, but I live in London, like things are expensive here. I don't think I'd be able to go and do that self-employed, even though I knew that that's what my heart wanted. And you were someone who would recommend me to people and support me through that. And you were just such a big part of that. So thank you. But also for somebody who is I guess maybe at the stage that I was that feels nervous and wants to go and take their yoga training and be a yoga teacher, what advice would you give to them?
Well, right here, it's just like make connection. I get asked this question quite a lot. And again, I'm so honored and grateful that, to be in a position to offer advice when it's asked. And I feel like for me, just go and make connection and really care about, the studios and the people that you want to teach. That's it. That's everything. Like the same way that you came to my interview, and I remember you looked at me, I looked at you, we both smiled, and I was like, I thought she's got my back, this girl. She's my girl.
Yeah,
And that's it. That's it. Just make connection and care about people, and everything will flow in the right way. Because
I
yeah, and then people will refer you to studios, to other people, and and that's it. And there's no effort in the actual like teaching and proving yourself. And I've been through that myself, right? You
Mm.
know my story earlier, and I've tried so hard, but I think it's much easier than that. Like, it's not supposed to be this hard and forceful. It's supposed to be more flowy and graceful and just natural. Natural
Yeah,
probably is the word I'm looking for. Um,
I think that's a
so
great
yeah,
answer. What I
just go
just
away.
took away
Yeah,
from that mainly is that I think when we think, oh, I want to become a yoga teacher, we think we have to become someone else. And it's like,
yeah,
no, you're just yourself, but you're teaching people postures and giving them this
yeah.
experience, but it's your energy that makes it unique. And so I don't know about what I know about you. Both of our journeys have been through connection with other people, and who you know mainly is what's been our thing for our success in what we do. And it's just by being ourselves.
100%. And I think for me, it was all about the people that I care the most. Like, I genuinely care about my students. Like, as for
Mm.
my clients in the health coaching, like, I care about them. And therefore, that's why, like, I believe I'm successful at what I do because then they refer me to their friends because they know I care and they can feel it. And that is like a ripple effect that goes, behind ourselves and, what we do,
Yeah,
the
a
yoga
100%.
itself.
Yeah.
Um,
So obviously that's how we connected through yoga, but I know that you also do other things. So tell us
yes,
more about that, because obviously I know, but people listening may not know. So tell us
of
what else you
course.
do as well.
Well, even here, it's like our journeys. Well, you are the one actually that introduced me to health coaching. So I'm a yoga instructor and a health coach. And you, my angel, I call Olive my angel because I really feel believe she's an angel. And we're going to explain probably this later a bit better. But yeah, you introduced me to you started the course, and I remember I signed up to the same course while you were still finishing, I think, or yeah, just a few months after. And yeah, I've always struggled my whole life. I feel not even knowing that I was struggling at the time as I was going through with my health and like with my mental health and with my physical health and all sorts of health in general. So I thought, I don't know, I was just so attracted and drawn to this course that you were doing because you loved it as well, from what I've gathered. And like you were sharing so much about it in such a positive way that literally influenced me to start it as well. And here I am, I became a health coach too. So that's
Yay.
what I do, yoga and health coaching, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that holistic health coaching course generally changed my life because when we talk about holistic approach, it means looking at our health from a whole. And I don't know about you, but with yoga, we teach for that hour on the mat. And I just thought people may come to this yoga class for 1 hour, but then go to the rest of their lives and continue to be stressed and overwhelmed or unhealthy, whatever it is they're going through. And that's still us looking at it at that one part of the body, the approach from teaching yoga. And I was like, I want to help people more in their lives. And that's why I felt like health coaching, which is holistic health, looking at a whole of our mind, body, and soul outside of the physical practice of yoga through coaching, one to one, talking with people, was where I wanted to go with it. And it's been so transformative for people and so rewarding. And it's just the icing on the cake for me doing that. I don't know how you feel about coaching as well as
I
yoga.
agree. I agree. Like when I was just doing yoga, for me, I always had the feeling that it wasn't enough. Like it was always
Mm.
like it's great. It's my first love, right?
Yeah.
So I'll always be like mad in love with yoga and what brings it in people and in me and like receive as well from others. But I always thought there was something else that for me, something that would allow me to go a little bit deeper. And health coaching, I think that's it. Because I think I found exactly the thing that I wish I had growing up that I didn't have, like the tool that could have helped me so much growing up. With all my fears and all the things that I went through, and yeah, I didn't have it. And now that I have this instrument, this tool that can help so many other people in a way I wish I had, is I think is great. And it makes me feel so much at ease. I don't know, it's just ease. Like knowing that is the right thing for me at this time is great. It's a great feeling.
I really do feel that from you as well at the moment, just this like ease coming from you. And obviously, like we've done coaching together, me and you, but it feels like the place that you are at right now, like you keep saying, you just feel energetically like no matter what happens in life, you're just at
I
ease with
do.
yourself.
I do. And I feel it deep in my bones, like, it's something that probably it cannot be explained for the people listening. Like it can't be explained because it's something like it's something that goes behind the physical and like behind the mind. It's just something that you feel, just being at ease in the right place at the right time. And you
Oh
probably
my
have better
gosh.
word to explain that.
I don't know if I do because I think when you experience this like settled feeling in yourself, and it's a whole mixture of different things, and I think it might be good for us to touch on for the people listening what you were talking about, what tools you wish that you'd had growing up that could have helped you with, I guess, your emotions and yourself and life in general. Do you want to touch on that? What's helped
Yeah,
you? Mm.
sure, sure. For me, it's like, growing up, I never felt understood. I never felt listened. So, it's pretty basic stuff, but just being able to be in a safe space where you have someone that actually like again cares about you and really wants to try to understand you. Because I feel like sometimes we get and I do it as well. Like I feel like we all do it, but we always try to see things our way, and that's the only way. And we don't understand that, everybody is different, and everybody's seeing and feeling different things, even for the same situation. Like that same situation, it's so different for all of us, right? So having that space where you can actually say what you think and feel what you feel, and knowing that that is a safe space for you to do so, where there's no judgment, that is a held space, so you've been held into this space and you can truly be yourself. I think that's the most powerful tool that you can ever have.
Agreed. And would you say that's in like I guess it's like therapy, but it's one-to-one coaching. It's like a different way, a different approach. It's someone listening to you, holding that space for you, but also helping you to go deeper into what you're
Exactly,
experiencing.
exactly. Because it's not, I always found, excuse me, I always found that, I don't know, with therapy, I could never go deep enough,
Mm,
and with coaching it's just like you go layer after layer into it, and it's just like in ever ends kind of things. And
yeah.
I think in our society we're it's so easy to put like a plaster onto something, like onto our problems, onto our symptoms, that um whether it is with a medicine or whether it's yourself trying to distract yourself from the actual problem. So I feel like that coaching, the healthcare, the holistic way that we do it, it just goes and into the and searches for the root causes of what is going on, and
Mhm.
that's why it's so powerful, because it's not
Yeah.
just just putting a plaster and just like a temporary fixing what is going on, because then eventually it's gonna come up again. Is It's much deeper than that. Like we go to the root of our problems. And the my experience as well for the broke for what I've done with you has been absolutely life changing. And for anybody listening, I won one-to-one sessions with Ollie. And Ollie offered her help. I was a bit in a pickle last year, and Ollie offered her help many, many times. I didn't accept it because that's the way I operate. I do not know how to accept help. I'm much better at it, but I still struggle with it. And then I attended your live masterclass, and and I won this session, and I never won anything in my life, but that was so meant to be, and it ended up being the most powerful process of my life, because again I felt I was held by you in a safe space, and I could really show and let go of my emotion like I've never done before.
Yeah, you really went there. And that's what I admire so much about you and anyone that decides to delve into themselves in general, because it's not an easy process. And I never sugarcoat that for anybody. It's not all love and light and fairies and rainbows. It's deep shadow work. We go into your traumas, we go into your nervous system, your inner child that didn't feel heard or seen. It is so intense, but it's so rewarding, as I can literally feel. I don't know if anyone listening can just feel that ease from Gigi, that, yes, she uphealed so much emotion and so much that she delved into, but it's been so worth it from what she's been saying and what we can feel from her with how at ease she now feels with herself and in her life. And what's amazing is that Gigi hasn't changed anything with her external life at all. It's not about trying to fix the things around you, it's about going inside of yourself.
I completely agree. And I completely agree on the fact that as well that, it's not easy. Probably the opposite of easy. But you know what? Is it it's so rewarding at the end, right? When you come up the other side, is so, so rewarding. And again, it's just ease, the ease that comes after all this work that you do within yourself. And you gotta face it, and then you gotta face whatever you have been through, and then I feel like you need to actively decide that you want to let go of that thing.
Yes. And that's one thing that we do in the coaching as well, is make decisions. And it's funny because it's like, oh, what will making a decision do? And it's so much more powerful than we know. And I always give that example that before I even knew about making a decision was powerful, I actually did that when I was 14 and had an eating disorder. I remember feeling so frustrated with myself and just wanted to be like a normal person that I made a decision to try and be more like a normal teenager and stop thinking about food all the time. And nothing, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but that one decision then ripple affected into everything else being a lot easier for myself. And so I really love that you brought up that decision so that we can help people know that it isn't an easy process, but it's also quite a simple process. Would you agree with that?
100%. It's much in the end, like it's much easier. Like I feel like as human, we tend to overcomplicate stuff all the time, and in reality, things are much easier than what it looks. 100%. I feel that the difficult part is get into it, and like even there, like at some point, I feel like if you want to face whatever it is that you've been through, you need to make a decision that you want to go there. Like you want to go there, you want to go and see what's there. Like I had no memories about my past, and that was my decision not to look into it. And then eventually, because I was feeling so unwell, and I knew I had an intuition that was the right path and the way to go. I didn't know what was that, so I didn't know that was, it was like a Pandora vase. I could have anything could have
Mm-hmm.
come out, and everything
Yes.
came out, right? And literally, literally everything came out, tears and all of it. And you know, it was a decision to actually go and look inside.
Mm. Well, there's no,
And then
we can't force
no,
people to
no,
come and delve into themselves, right? You have to be the one that decides to do it. And then the person that's helping you, holding that space and guiding you through, is the one that's just helping you to do your own healing, basically. And one thing I'd love you to continue to go into is because when we're children, I mean, everybody in life will have some sort of trauma, no matter how big or small it is. But sometimes we don't have that space to be able to process it, or we aren't taught how to process it. And now has been the perfect time with the age that you are and the space that you created for yourself to heal from your past. And I feel like it always comes in divine timing. But let's delve a little bit more into why you felt like you needed to dig into your past. What has it been? Why did you decide to dig into that for yourself?
yeah. So I think I need to take you guys back to last year. So last year has been a really tough year for me, mentally and physically. I was ill a lot of time. I kept like, getting sick all the time. I had my endometriosis surgery. Um, and yeah, one thing, it was a bit of a ripple effect, the fact that I never felt great within like my body. And when you don't feel good physically, you don't feel good mentally, energetically, and is kind of a loop, like it never ends until again you decide that you have to stop. Yeah, you want to stop it and you want to change things. And there is this phrase that goes, what you're not changing, you're choosing. So, at some point, if the same situation and experience keep repeating, is because, there is a lesson there that hasn't probably been learned, and there's something that needs to be changing. And most of the time, we don't know what needs to be changing. And at that point, I didn't know what I need to change, but I had an intuition. And I wrote it I did like a brainstorming in my notebook. And I wrote, I want to start therapy. I want to start coaching. And, you know, because it was so physical for me last year, again, with all these illnesses. And at the beginning of last year, I was diagnosed with endometriosis, which is something that I battled for many, many years of my life. And it's never been recognized. I've seen so many doctors, and they always told me like, the pain was in my head, and that I was the weak one for expressing the way I was feeling in pain, and so and so. So I think I do not. I just had this intuition that my endometriosis came because of something that happened to me, and because my nervous system was dysregulated because of past experiences in my childhood. I don't know, I just had this intuition. And then as I said, I started therapy with someone. It didn't work because I really think that you need to um, click with your coach or with your therapist. Like as for yoga, for example, some people don't like my yoga. That's okay. The way they don't like myself, that's okay. I don't like everybody either, so that's okay. I feel like you need to find the right the right person that is actually can understand you and understands you so much that again can create that safe space for you. And you did that to me, and again it came like blessing in the sky because I want those sessions.
Yeah, it was definitely divinely guided, wasn't it? Like I had a whole bag of names to pick out for who was going to have a
Yes.
free coaching session with me. We did, I think it was 8 weeks together. That's what I usually do, 8 weeks. And Gigi's name pulled out, and I was like, of course, I've been trying to get her to do this for the
Yeah,
past year.
absolutely. You said so many times to me, we'll do it for free. Like, no matter what, just tell me when you want to do it, we'll do it. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And, in so when I was doing still my health coaching course, we had to do practice, right, with other people. And I remember there and then I said, I really love to start having like therapy and coaching. And this person asked me, who do you think is the right person for you? And I replied something along the line, being like, has to be a woman, because I don't know, I feel like we could relate more. It needs to be someone very like spiritual and like deep. And I don't know, I said something about like, in my head I envision it with someone like being very angelic. And I call you my angel. I've been calling you my angel all this time. So you were literally in front of my eyes all this time, and I didn't want to say, I wasn't ready to see you. I wasn't ready to do it until that point, and then something clicked and unlocked, and you know, and because like you present like I want that, so I wasn't gonna turn them down, like
I know.
like it.
But like you say as well, you're someone that struggled to receive. And because we were friends, I mean, it's great that we have that bond and that trust already, which, like you say, you need with that person that you're going to be doing healing work with. But you really struggled to receive from life in
Yes,
every single way. And you were very much in that masculine phase of your life, that masculine
yes.
energy within. So I know also that I would love you to speak and touch upon how you literally, because I don't know if people can hear, but you obviously have a beautiful accent and she's not from the UK. I just really love the journey of you getting to the UK and all of that background of you as well. So delve a bit more into why you got here and what you faced when you got here as well, which is just so inspiring. And I'd love everybody to
Yeah.
hear that.
Thank you, Ali. I wanted just to add one more thing about what we were speaking earlier, because I know that probably there are people that are listening to this that might relate with this. So I just want to say it out loud. I want to start therapy and coaching as well because I have, I've been struggling with fertility, and I know that so many people do as well. And that was a lot in my mind as well, with like me being sick all the time and my mental health being, all over the place because of all of these different components. So that was another reason why I wanted to start coaching. And again,
And
you
it
came.
happened.
It happened. It happened. But yeah, so I arrived in London that I was 19. So I was very, very, just basically 10, 19. I finished high school and I wanted to leave my hometown in Italy because at that point, my relationship with my family, especially with my father, wasn't great at all. We weren't really speaking at that point. And I always knew that I didn't want to go to university straight away. I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be honest, in all honesty. I wanted a change of scenario. That's what I wanted the most. I wanted to start my life again from scratch and being away from everything that I knew up to that moment. I wanted to create a life probably in my own terms. Um, and I was so scared because I grew up in a very small village in the countryside in the north of Italy, and it's literally is my family, my grandparents downstairs, and like a few other families around, and then there's like fields and like small cities kilometers away. But it's a very, very different reality. And I know there's a reality that lots of us live, and I knew at that point that was not my reality. I didn't want to live that life anymore. So
Can I just
I
touch
I
in there as well that
yeah.
I don't know about you, but for me, I wanted to move to London because I knew I wanted to pursue teaching yoga and like explore myself as well. And in London, there's so many diverse people who seem to be a lot more open-minded. And I thought people from my hometown like to narrow you down into a box of who you are and label you and keep you in that box, and also aren't as open-minded. And so it's like, I don't know about you, but I came to London and felt as though I could just explore who I am without that judgment.
100%. I can so like you literally said it better than I could ever said myself. Because I always thought, you know, again, people just label you and you're like, because I was never great at school. Actually, I was the opposite of great. I was very cheeky. I think I've opened very few books in my life and read and studied very few books in my life. Now it's completely opposite. Now like I read and like study and research all the time. Um, but at that time, I hated all of that because it was a must, and I had to do it, and that was not the way I wanted to live, and I was not interested into any topics in school or anything like that. So people were always saying to me that I would end up like working in a supermarket at a till, which is absolutely
Ooh.
fine. If you do that, know that it is absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. 100%. But that was the label that was given to me. And I knew I was so much more than that. And I wanted to be so much more than that. And that was not enough for me. And
Yes,
people were like, she's not gonna study, she hasn't got good grades at school, and she's gonna end up in a supermarket passing the products and at a till, and I was like, you know what, like I'm so much more than that, and I'm gonna prove it to everybody. And that's why I then eventually got too much on the other side, where like I had to constantly try to prove myself to myself.
mm,
Because I really felt like I wasn't understood and I wasn't valued enough at the time. And I don't, it's not that I wasn't valued, but because I wasn't understood, I felt like there was no space for me there, so I decided to leave and see what was out there. And oh my gosh, London, the place of opportunities, and
Yes.
there's so much here, and I could be everybody and nobody at the same time,
Mm.
and I could literally start from scratch and just like I want to be this person today. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. And you really did start from scratch. Like you came here not knowing, I think, pretty much anyone. And I just love as well how you said that people labeled you thinking, oh, you're just going to be someone in the supermarket. Like we say, there's nothing wrong with that. But knowing you and how ambitious you are and how motivated you are and how passionate you are about what you do and all of that, it's just so funny because I can't even imagine that side of
I
you because I've
know.
not seen that.
Literally, because at that point, when you don't feel understood, like nothing excites you, I think. Like,
Yeah.
if on the other side you have people that don't get you, you don't even spend your time trying, to find the things that you like and the things that make you excited. And yeah, I came to London. I did not speak a word of English, like not one. My first interview in a coffee shop, the manager asked me if I knew how to make coffees, and I just understood coffee. I made coffees international, and I thought she was asking me if I wanted a coffee, and I was like, "Yes, please." And she looks at me and be like, "I did not ask if you want a coffee. I asked if you can make coffees." And I was like, "Oh, then the answer is no." So for anybody listening, there is hope for all of us out there.
I mean, look how amazing you are at speaking English, and no one even taught you. You just picked it up, which just blows
No.
my mind.
I know, I know. It's been tough. Like I still remember as well, like when I had to clean, like it's the same manager, bless her. That was my very first job. I got the job in the end. I don't know how because it was an Italian restaurant, so I could speak a little bit of Italian. And I remember she kept asking me to go downstairs and get the mop. And at that point, I had no idea what was a mop. So I kept going downstairs and picking up random stuff and bringing up a pan. I was like, mop? And I was like, no. So go downstairs again, picking up something else. So showing to, I was like, pointing, I was like, mop? I was like, no. And she would not even tell me, like,
That is
but
hilarious.
yeah, yeah. So little by little, word by word, literally, I started to learn English, and I've started actually learn properly when I went to work as a nursery teacher. Yes. So with kids, I could literally ask them, be like, if you don't tell me, if you don't explain that to me, I have no idea what you want. I cannot give it to you. So please, simple words, explain it to me. So they were literally just like so sweet, just trying to teach me words as I would teach them other stuff. It was very, very nice and sweet.
So where did you go from there? You were a nursery teacher and still trying to speak English and learning that.
Yeah.
And then where did you
So
go from there?
Yeah, so then after that, being a nursery teacher, I loved with all my heart, but it's such a challenging work, and anybody that does it, honestly, you are heroes. Like it's so physically and mentally challenging. Like you guys are the best, and they're not even paid well. Like they're paid really bad, and it's such a shame because they they influence the future, our future generation, and like those years of those early stages, they are so important in development of a child, and knowing that these people are not supported enough to doing the job that they do, it's insane. But this is a story for another, for a whole
No,
different
agreed. But it's
podcast.
also, I guess, also like where we're at with us teaching yoga and how passionate we are about helping people feel good within themselves. We also have to earn a living and we also have to set those boundaries for ourselves as well, don't we? Obviously, it's harder when you're employed by a company and things like that, but we've decided to go self-employed and pave our own way to make our own income so that we can support ourselves more. And obviously it has its pros and cons over being employed, but it means that we get to be entrepreneurs and we get to also do what we love and help people whilst also making money at the same time, which not everybody has that opportunity to do that.
I completely agree. I completely agree. So for those reasons, like because it was really challenging and financially it wasn't the best. Like I had a career as well in that, and honestly, like it made me really sad when I had to leave because in a way I wanted to stay. As you said at the beginning of this podcast, like that I bring this playfulness in everything and like in workplaces and stuff. Like I used to love working with children because they're so playful. And I used to play all day with them. Like I used to love it. I used to laugh so much.
Yeah.
Um, and then I found a job after that in administration and accountancy, which is basically what I've studied in high school back in Italy. And oh my God, that was a completely different experience from children, from restaurants to children to, things like sat in an office for like long hours in a day and working in the city, like, like a competitive environment and all of that. And then, it did not like it. I love some bits of it, but I didn't love the whole thing. Like I can't sit still for more than 30 minutes.
I
I need to go and do stuff. I need to move. I need to speak with people, this is what I'm good at, and I'm what,
This is why I'm laughing because I'm like, I just can't imagine you doing that. Like, you're so like charismatic and you're just yourself and playful and fun and creative that you just being there like on your laptop working away. I
yeah,
just cannot imagine.
working on numbers all day. And I remember the accountant looking at me all the time, was like, these are all wrong. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't understand it. Like when I see number, I am an accountant, right? That's what I studied in Italy. And then when I see numbers, my eyes cross. And I was like, this is not me. Like, like I've tried, but like, you know, sitting there and being like, a corporate girl it wasn't the right path for me. In
No.
all this time since I came to London, I've I was practicing yoga. I discovered yoga in London when I first came because my flatmate introduced me to yoga. Now we're taking like private lessons because a friend of her, she needed to start teaching in English and she wanted to practice. So we were having like private sessions at home, and my love with yoga started then, and I carried out through all these years. And when pandemic happened, I was like, you know what? This is my sign. I wanted to do this for such a long time, and I never had the courage to take a month off and do my teacher training. And that was like again another something that the universe served on a plate to me. It was like, this is the right time. This is like, you have to do it right now. And since then I never looked back. Since I took my teacher training, and then I decided to pursue my full-time career in teaching, and then eventually the health coaching came along as well a few years after, and here we are.
And here you are. I just love that whole journey. Like, I think we underestimate how much you've actually gone through and also how you've built yourself up to where you are today. So, as soon as you took your yoga course, what was the first job that you got into? What was that first in for you to be a teacher in London?
Because I've started during pandemic, everything was online, which it was so weird because at that point, I don't feel like everybody, well, we didn't know what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
all the teachers that they were already established in the industry, they were teaching online, but because they were forced to, but they still didn't know how it worked and how it will work because we didn't know when we were going to come out of lockdown. And then we had like a second and a third and a fourth and all of that stuff. So yeah, I started teaching, my mother-in-law's friends and like my friends, and like and everybody, I am so lucky and grateful because here in London I have such a good support circle and system of all the friends and people that I've met throughout the years, and like my family, my husband family, that they're here, that they've introduced me to anybody they knew that they were like, are you up for a yoga class? Great, go to Gigi. It's just like she's the guy, like just go to that. And I will literally teach anybody, anybody, and I will do it so much. I did the first year, I literally taught so many classes that I think it's hard to put a number on it because I wanted to practice so much so I could become better at teaching and like feel more confident and like, um, and as we said, although my life hasn't started as ambitious, like in an ambitious way, I am very ambitious. So I really wanted to get better.
Mm.
I when I put my mind to something, I want to do it. I want to do it well. And so yeah, I was there teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching.
And what a great way for you, though, to gain so much experience so quickly. And it does feel so aligned that you are doing this and that I guess it happened quite easily for you in a sense that people were like, go and do this. We've got this contact and this contact. And you had so many classes and had a year of just doing so much, which obviously was probably a lot for you as well. But to gain that experience, some people even struggle to get into the room in London because there's that many yoga teachers.
100%. It's so valuable. It's so valuable. This is another, like, when someone asks me, where do I start? After my teacher training, what do I do? Each whoever is up for it. Like I used to put up this class on a Saturday morning, which I've done for free for like months and months, probably a year. And even if it was one person, I would still like show up and teach the class because that's experience and it's nothing more valuable than experience. Like to be able to read a room and to be able to hold space and bring your energy and it's it's more valuable than anything else.
And I think that shows why you are where you're at today, doing events, doing retreats, and things like that for companies, is because you have valued teaching just one person, but also knowing that that one person is going to get so much out of it from doing that one to one, instead of you thinking on the lack side of what's the point in doing this? And starting from that one person can build and build and build and build and get you to where you are today.
100%. You don't need, I always say this as well, like you don't need millions of people. Like you need one good person. And if you care about that one person, that is your ripple effect. That is gonna go on its own and you don't have to do anything. People will come to you because you care so much. Everybody wants to be cared for. Like I want to be cared for. Like you probably as well. Everybody.
Yeah,
And that's the
absolutely.
only thing that you have to do. You have to care for whoever you have in front of you, for the person who showed up, not
Mm.
for the 100 people that didn't, that might have signed up, but they didn't. You have to care for the one person that showed up and give your 100% to that person.
Yeah, 100%. And that is the type of person that you are. You're so compassionate and you care so much for people, which is why you do what you do. And that really shows in what you do. So thank you for being on this earth. I would
Thank you, Ali.
also like to just do one last question because I know how we spoke and touched upon a little bit about the masculine and the feminine energies that we have within us. And you were very much in your masculine of like producing, going, not stopping, not resting, providing for yourself, not allowing yourself to receive support. Would you say you're more in your feminine now? How did you get there, if that's true?
I wouldn't say I'm more in my family now. It's definitely a work in progress, and probably something that I'm gonna have to work for the rest of my life, and that's okay. Like we always have something that we need to work on. But I feel like I'm much more able to receive now, and I feel like I'm much softer. I can let go of things much more easily, and I'm much kinder to myself. Um, there's like the masculine and the feminine, like we need them both, and there's no right or wrong, bad or good, right? We need everything, and everything in moderation is when there is too much of one and too little of the other one that it creates an imbalance, and then is when it's problem starts to arise and create. And yeah, it's so good to be soft and gentle and kinder, to myself.
Mm. And I think
It feels,
I was just going to
sorry, it
say,
feels very good.
yeah, it looks good on you. And to say everything that you've been through, that hardens you and can harden people from trauma, from experiences that you try and like block yourself and protect yourself and think that you're so hyper independent and you can do everything by yourself, to now what sounds like to me from what you described that you do have more balance between that masculine and the feminine, and you've allowed yourself to receive and soften a bit more and trust yourself and find that kindness and compassion. That is more feminine, and that is you just allowing yourself to be more in balance. And it can be scary when you've been so used to be operating in that other side to then go, oh, what's it like to also have the other side and to soften into life a bit more? And that's where you
I
are.
agree. I didn't know that, you could also have such a soft, I could have such a soft side of myself and being like so sensitive and emotional. Because throughout my whole life, for at least what I can remember, I had to be for myself the strong person to take myself out of situations that I didn't want to be in. Example, coming to London, I needed to be the strong person that takes herself away from everything that she knows. She moves to a country where she doesn't know anybody in a language that she doesn't even speak, you know, and I built up onto that. And I made that my personality super, like I was attached
Mm.
to that version of myself so much. And it served me so well for such a long time until that point last year where I realized that the version of myself was so strong. I still need that version of myself, but not in that capacity.
Yeah. That's so beautiful and so right that we can hold on to identities and past selves and think that that's the way we need to continue operating forever. And it worked for you for a while, but then wasn't working for you anymore. And to then let go of that identity of who you were is so scary because you'd have no idea who you are beyond that.
No idea. No idea. And that's why like, change is so scary and like, coaching is so scary. As we said, you need to go right through it because the one thing that made me feel safe until that point, it was the thing that it was literally, you know, um eating me inside as well.
Yeah.
And it was my security until that point. And what was making me secure was also, draining me and yeah, just like
Yeah.
making me feel really sad. And
Mm.
I had to completely like rewind and just like, get to know a part of myself that I didn't even knew it existed. And everything is new, right? So all these emotions and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's great. It's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's facing all of yourself and like integrating every part of yourself. And it's such like a homecoming that feels like it takes a bit of a moment to like
Yeah,
drag everything together, doesn't it?
yeah, I agree. I agree.
So
But
what
yeah,
can we expect? What can we
it's been
expect
such a
from you,
beautiful
Gigi?
journey.
I know it has.
Ooh, what we can expect from me.
Yeah, going forward, what's the vision? What can we expect from you?
I have no idea, and that in itself, I think is beautiful to have no
Agreed.
idea, because that opens up to so many possibilities, and I have no, I know that this is the right path for me. I know that what I'm doing, it feels so right in this right moment. So I'm gonna keep teaching. I'm gonna keep doing my health coach, like coaching people, health coaching and I'm gonna keep doing my events and retreats and everything that brings and I'm gonna continue on this path. I don't know what's the long-term goal of what is gonna happen because anything can happen. And I want to be open to it and I want to see what comes my way so I can receive it fully.
That is a beautiful answer and one that shows how much in your feminine trust and all of that flow that you're in at the moment. That is amazing. And so, if people were listening to this and they want to work with you, how would they find you? What do you offer?
So they can, of course, Instagram, you can guys message me at any point. My Instagram handle is wellness.by.gg. And as well, my website, exactly the same, Wellness by Gigi. And you can find all of the information about coaching and yoga, one-to-one, group sessions. Everything is pretty much tailored to your needs. So we can have a chat, a free consultation, and then decide where to go from there.
Sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here and just being you. It's been so nice to chat with you.
Thank you for having me, Ollie. Thank you, thank you,
You're
thank you.
welcome. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.